Hello, everybody. Good to see you. So let's talk about your life experience for a while. People are always trying to ask about my life experience as if it's something exciting, and wonderful. And my life is really pretty quiet and would be considered boring by the me that was for 50 something years cruising the planet. But I don't find it at all boring. It's just absolutely marvelous. Betsy and I have got a tremendous thing going, whatever it is. But we've been together for 23, 24 years now, and we both live in heaven. So what can you say about that? It's just great. Um, Betsy has a way of making things look like heaven because I like to say that Betsy has good taste in everything but men. So I slipped in the back door, I think. So let's talk about your life experience. But we want to, when we do, who are you? Who are you? Whose life experience is it? Or whose experience is life? Mhm. Do you know who you are? I mean, really know who you are. You may be an upstanding member of the community. You may be a terrific preacher or attorney or doctor or salesman or lawyer or, uh, you know, sales clerk, whatever it is that you do. And it feels like, that, but that's just the activity of your life. That's not your life. And we got to figure out whose activity is it? Whose activity is it really? When you say it's my life and it's my activity, what do you mean by that? Do you have any idea what you really mean by that? What I find out is that almost everybody that I talk to, until I've talked to them, they don't know what they mean by that. It's a, it's actually just a throwaway phrase. Well, yeah, that's how I feel about it. But who's the I? Well, it's this, really. So if you are the body and you get in a car wreck and you lose both your arms, are you suddenly, is there less you there? I mean, it'd be a terrible experience. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying whose experience would it be? Can you be weighed? That's the thing. If we could weigh that body, we can see the body is smaller, but what about you? Are you really that body? Is that what you really think? When you read your first non-dual book, didn't it tell you you are not the body? I mean, I think it did. And I'm pretty sure I read that book. I read that phrase in many non-dual books. And you can find it in some non-dual books that I have written as well. Because it's a good pointer. It's not true, but it's a good pointer. And when I say it's not true that you are not the body, I mean, you are not the body exclusively. You're not any body exclusively, but you are everybody collectively. You're everybody in the world. I mean, like every physical body, every physical being. And not only are you these beings, but when you look out and you see a dog or a cat or a horse or a cow, that's you too. You're all beings. You're not a being. And you're all beings. And the sense of being is happening to the one thing that is all beings, which just for our purposes here, I'll call oneness. Okay? We'll just call it oneness. We'll call it oneness because I can't think of a better word, other than awakeness or something, which is really better words because they're not quite so tied down to definitions. But for our purposes here, I think we'd be better off to use the word oneness. And this is oneness. People that tell me that, Fred, I need to merge with God. And depending on the situation. If it looks like there's an opportunity, then I will ask them who they think there is that's separate from God. Like, where is the beginning of God? Where is the beginning of this? Could this be God? Could God be this? Where is the beginning of this? I mean, I just came in somehow. When I say I mean the animating presence that's running this body entered this body, and this body became conscious because now it had the mechanisms in place for consciousness to play out on this planet. It had a working mind. It had a working brain. So you don't really have to have a working brain to be on the planet or to have a sense of being. You can take planaria and touch them with a pen, and they'll right, they'll squeeze up. And you can take one and cut one in half in the back, and you'll end up with a planaria with two tails, is what I think. I don't think you can cut them completely in half. I can't remember, but I don't think so. But you come up with a different look, and that's what you have. You have a different look. But do you have a different animating presence inside that planaria? No. You got the very same animating presence that was in that planaria before it was cut, and it's the very same presence that's talking to you right now. And you're also it. So we can't recognize that when we go looking for oneness. This is so obvious. How do we miss this? When you go looking for oneness, who the hell do you think you are? I mean, I'm looking for oneness. I can't wait to merge with oneness. I can't wait to merge with God. Well, who's going to merge? Tunis? When there's just oneness, that means there's just one. And one can't merge with anything else because there isn't anything else but this one. When there's one, there's one. And that's what you are. You were oneness, and you look just like this. So you think, when I wake up, I'll see something different. Well, I have so-called woken up, or really awakeness has woken up through this body. And you're right. I do see the world completely differently, but I see the same world completely differently. I don't see a completely different world. See, it's not what you're looking at that counts. It's where you're looking from. Whose eyes are you looking through? If you're looking through for years, for 50 years plus, I looked through the eyes of Fred. And I was looking for enlightenment. And 14 years before the big enlightenment that finally took hold in 2006, I had a distinct enlightenment experience in 1992, which meant simply that awakeness came to find out that there was no Fred. I'd always wanted to wake up to the truth of God, but the truth of God woke up to the fiction of Fred instead. And so who woke up? Nobody woke up. Awakeness came to recognize itself, and we call that waking up, because for awakeness, it kind of feels like, well, hell, I've been in a dream or something. I've been thinking I was this little guy. And, I notice that I can't not be this little guy because I'm everything. But I'm not this little guy specially or importantly or anything. There's no importance here. Unless I give it importance. I give everything its importance. And there really isn't a hierarchy here until I establish one. And then there is a hierarchy, and it's amazing, but I noticed that the hierarchy that I find, I'm right at the top. I'm right up there, with the gods and stuff, right at the top. And you're the great unwashed, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that your children are starving, and that there's war in your country. I'm so sorry for the rape and the pillage and everything else awful that goes on here. But none of it affects me. See, I'm not on this planet. You're looking at this unit. This unit is very much on this planet Earth. But what's talking to you is not on this planet Earth. Mm-mm. Never was, but it thought it was. That's all it takes. If you think you're one of these bodies, in the absence of argument, in the absence of um, investigation, that's where you'll live your life, and that's what's happening. And if you're awake, congratulations. Although you had nothing to do with it, and there's no you over there for me to congratulate. But I can congratulate myself, and I can't congratulate anything else because there's only me. And you can say the same. There's only this. That's right. And this is me, but there's no separate me. That's just oneness. So in that case, let's just recognize the facts that since there's no distinction, we could say, I am oneness. Certainly, we can say this unit is. We could say that you are oneness, but there's no distinct you either. So that body and this body are actually composed of the very same thing. The very same thing. We're not, there's no boundary between you and me. You think there is, but I'm not on this earth. If I'm not on this earth, how are you going to be bonded to me? How? It just doesn't work like that. So it doesn't work the way you think it does. It works exactly the opposite of the way that you think it does. That's the trick. What I discovered, which I think is, I think it was a new discovery. I've never heard anybody else talk about it until I did. And I don't know that I've heard anybody talk about it since, but I think there may be some who were talking about it because I've been around long. And maybe it was noticed spontaneously. I don't know. But there's something called the bubble of self-reflection. And if you're not awake right now, but you're on the spiritual path, and that's where you are. You're in that bubble of self-reflection. If you're not on a spiritual path, you don't need to think about this stuff. The stuff that we think is so critical is, give me the sports page, would you? I don't think I can take much of this spirituality. God Almighty, so dull. It's like it used to be when I was a kid that TV would on Sundays it was only like a couple of channels, and one of them would play church, and it was like, oh God Almighty, I've got there's nothing to see on television. That television is a waste of electricity, waste of materials for me here on this Sunday morning. Saturday afternoon, now that's quite different. Saturday morning, my God, it's cartoons. Now you have cartoons anytime, but we used to have to wait. It was hard, but it did make it very special. But there's no separation. There's just this one thing. And you may, if you're not awake, and when I say you're awake, I don't mean that there's a body that's awake. This body is not awake. I am awakeness. It's not like I'm awake. There's no, you know what reason I'm not awake? Because I can't sleep. I've got a name called of awakeness. How the hell do you think awakeness can take a nap? Right? Awakeness doesn't ever nap. The body naps, that's fine. The mind naps, that's perfect. But I don't ever nap. And the life I was describing of dullness, that's Fred's life. My life is just always got something going on. It's got this. This is my life. So it's not my experience of other, I'm constantly having my experience of myself because this is what I am. And the funny thing is, you can say the same and it will be as true for you as it is for me, but you may not believe it. See, that's the thing. You got to come to believe it. And I told somebody today who told me, well, a couple of people, that I talked to who were kind of trying to figure this thing out. And I said, you just can't figure it out. It's unfigure outable. Give it up. Quit. Stop right now. Cease and desist. And give up. Well, how do you give up? Well, the character, the Fred character was never much about giving up. And Betsy says I'm old and and stubborn now. So, and I never was much better. So, but what's your experience? You're experiencing yourself as that body that's listening to this, which is all of the bodies that are listening to this. And but you are also all the bodies that are not listening to this. You're everything. You're everybody. This pocket knife is not mine. It's you. It's not yours. It's you. It's also me, not mine. That's oneness can't have a pocket knife. See, that would be two. That would make oneness two-ness. And oneness can't have a remote for the fan because they're just oneness. There is a remote for the fan, but that's only in the dream of relativity. Dream's a great way to put it. I don't know how else you can put it. I mean, you can say, okay, that this is illusion or whatever you want. That's fine. I don't have any quarrel with that. It's just dream seems to me easier. But it's not your dream. You, Bob, are not dreaming. You, Bob, are the dream. It's awakeness's dream. This is awakeness's dream. And I am awakeness, but this body, this character, all of this is awakeness's dream. And right now, awakeness is talking to awakeness, trying to help awakeness notice the dream. It's not your dream that you need to notice. It's just the dreaming. Notice that there's dreaming. What is the dream of? Other. What did I read something beautiful today. I wonder what it was. Well, I think it was something to the effect that comparison is the end of happiness. Because see, I want something. I like this is nice. This world and everything. This is nice. It really is. It's not as nice as the world I was thinking of, right? Like the weather is really great. Not as good as it could be, but it's all right, we can make do with it. It's kind of a make do world. Oh my God, how disappointing would that be? It's kind of a make do world. Jesus. It's not a make do world, it's a celebratory world. I can celebrate. You know what I can celebrate? The sense of being. And who's celebrating the sense of being? The sense of being. Notice that you have a sense of being. There is a sense of aliveness right over there in that body. There's a sense of aliveness over here, so to speak. But there really is no over here and over there, but we're playing like there is so that I can slowly get to a bigger picture. I don't want to just give you the bigger picture with no directions. I don't even remember where I was. See, this is what happens when you get old. You're just going along, you're doing fine, and then it's like, oh, what the hell was I saying? Sometimes I'll look at Betsy and just freak her out. I'll say, "What's your name?" And did that this morning because I had obviously forgotten something, and so I joked with her, which is what I do because I don't take life too damn seriously. You do. Because see, I see that this is exactly the way things should be. How do we know? How are things? They're just like this. What it should be, it's your imagination. I don't have that kind of imagination anymore. Thank God. I'm not looking for other. I mean, how frustrating a life is it when you're oneness and you're looking for other? Hello? Oneness discloses the otherwise amazing fact that there's only oneness. Oneness can't experience oneness over there. And that's what you want. You're looking for oneness because you think oneness has got to be over there, but oneness is right here. Where else could it be? Really, just look at it. Where else could oneness be? Well, I don't know, but well, why don't you just stop with I don't know? Because when you say but, you're fixing to lie to me. Just stop with I don't know. I love to hear people say I don't know. People are terrified of saying I don't know. I'm not, because I don't know much and I'm trying to get rid of what I do know. Because the way to freedom is not in knowing, it's in unknowing. When you are unknowing, your life experience, if you will, changes completely. That's not what it's about. But you may as well take the benefits, which is that this unit's just infinitely happier than it used to be. Infinitely happier. People like this unit. Can you imagine? I know. It's a gruff old bird sometimes. People still like it. People pay money to come see it. Here I am. But here, and when I say here I mean here I am. So there's no reason to come here to see me. All you can do when you can just turn your head and see you. And when you're looking at you, you're looking at me because it's just one thing. I don't want to make you dizzy, but this thing is so simple. But we don't make it simple because we compare everything. We compare what has to be, which is this. This is the way everything has to be. There's no should, just there's this. Why is it like this? Because it has to be. That's just the way the whole thing works. Trust me on this. If you haven't had that experience yet, then maybe you want to trust me on this. And I know it's hard to trust, isn't it? And we came to this really because maybe we were Baptists or we were Lutherans or something, and we were told, well just believe this. Right? Almighty. And just have faith. And we didn't have any faith. And we didn't believe what they were saying, and we were right. Well, we might have been. I said, you could have been Hindu or Muslim or whatever. I just happened to have grown up in Christianity, so I often refer to it. That didn't mean it's special. It just means I often refer to it because that was the localized conditioning here. We get so wrapped up in the localized conditioning, which is like, and how do I look today? What do you think? How do I look? Do I meet your approval? God, I'm so desperately wanting to meet your approval. I will buy this thing, anything, and put it on it, hoping that you will say, well, that really looks nice. Not that I really have any great admiration for your taste, but at least I know when you're right. And that's when you're telling me You look very nice today. Thank you so much. But my self-image is it's just like a bruised toe in the world. It's already bruised. And every time it touches something, you go, and that's a little self-image. Think hard. Self-image. What do you think we're talking about there? What do you think that word is about? Well, it's about the self, the one self, the only self. Yeah, the capital S self, the capital O oneness. It's not about anything else because there isn't anything else. And it's not about some other experience because there is no experience other than this one until there is. At which point, there will be no other experience other than the one that is taking place at that moment. But where do we see it from? Do we see it from Fredness? If we do, we're going to be miserable because Fredness knows not a lot, but it does know that it's the center of the world. Don't you kind of feel that same way too? I mean, everywhere I look, there I am, right in the middle. This has got to be all about me, doesn't it? Why can't these other 8 billion people see that this is about me? Why can't they just take it in? God Almighty, this is all about him. They can't see it because they are operating under the illusion, whereas I am right, but they are operating under the illusion that it's all about them. God Almighty, such ignorance, I can't believe it. Yeah, I would tell you it's all about me, but that's actually true, only that I'm not a Fred and I'm not this. It's got to be all about me because there's nothing but me. But a me is not really a personality or anything. It's not an entity per se. It's something that we cannot describe. We can kind of touch it. And there's some sort of like almost like there's a membrane right here, so that when I get in deep conversation with people, it doesn't have to be about a non-duality, but it does help if it's about non-duality, but it doesn't have to be. We just get in intense conversation, and the membrane opens up. This is just an analogy, but it's a very good one. That membrane, it just gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it finally is thinner and porous. So that what is this, just pay attention, it's just words, it's just teaching, but I'm trying to be accurate as I I can be about something that can't be talked about. It becomes porous so that the quote thing on this side is in contact with the thing on that side. That's the way the mind would take it to be. And it's a way to sort of explain it, only that there's no this side and no that side, because I can't find any side. Can you find an outside to this? I can find outdoors, but that's just outdoors. I go behind any door and now I'm no longer outdoors. But am I really somewhere else? I might be somewhere else on the planet. Or this unit might be somewhere else on the planet. I can't be somewhere else on the planet because I'm not even on the planet. I tell you again. I'm that which cannot be touched. I'm that which cannot really be spoken of. You see me trying to. That which cannot be known. Only I can recognize myself. And when I do that through a conscious being, we call that awakening or enlightenment. We call it awakening because it kind of feels like I've been in a dream and I'm waking up. But of course, with a name like awakeness, you have a tough time dreaming. You don't sleep, you can't dream. So I don't know if I made any sense here to you or not, but I made a lot of sense to me. I mean, I'm clearer now than I was at the beginning of this thing, I can tell you that. And so I may have just rubbed all my ignorance off on you, and if so, I apologize. But you know what? It's worth it to me. I love you. I really do. I love you very much. Thank you so much for coming and talking to yourself today. Bye for now.